Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Karak with Mehreen show. I'm so excited about today's guest. He is someone that you all love, you all admire, that you all laugh with. He has become a digital star because of his comedy. He uses his humor to make nerve wracking experiences like job interviews more enjoyable and something to laugh about. He's also built an amazing career for himself in project management. He is more than just a comedian. There's so much of him that you haven't seen yet, which is why I'm excited to have this conversation with Sundeep Fernandes. Welcome.
Can you please repeat that again?
Why?
Because my father would be very proud.
It's
to hear
okay.
that.
You can just crop this and just keep it on repeat.
But did you say I'm a digital marketer? What
No,
did you-
digital star. Like
what about-
online star.
So not about the physical world.
No, like now the online is what's physical, so it's fine. You're a star. That's all that matters. That's all that I meant.
Digital star.
Yes, exactly.
So guys, we have in our studio a very famous personality and a very loving person.
No, you
She
don't
is
have to
from
do
Generation Z,
Wow.
Mehreen. And I, for a long period of time, thought that when she said Kadak with Mehreen, I thought there would be no Kadak. But she surprised me by bringing this Kadak chai, guys. And
Okay,
I'm very
Sandeep,
happy.
Sandeep, it's my show, so let me start, please. Yeah, let me do my thing, please.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. Just enjoy your karak. Okay, wait for the questions. Okay.
Whatever.
Perfect. So let's start. We're going to be talking about a couple of different things. We'll talk about you being an introvert, how that experience is like, especially as a comedian. Then we'll talk about marriage, what you think of the whole idea of marriage as an institution. And finally, we'll talk about societal pressures and social expectations. Perfect. So to start off, we all know you're a comedian. You are an amazing comedian. You do it best. And when we think of comedians, we usually think of them as an extrovert because they're out there making jokes. They're in front of an audience. They're vibing with the audience, with people. So we think naturally, stereotypically that, oh, they're probably an extrovert. But you identify as an introvert, right? So I just want to ask you, like, how is that experience like being a comedian and being an introvert?
Yeah, for me, I think most of the majority of the comedians are introvert and also a bit mental. Mental, not in the clinically mental thing. It's normally they are like going through a lot of mental health issues, which are not clinically diagnosed. Please don't quote me on this. So, and also, I mean, for me, I am introvert in a sense that I'm also extrovert. But when I'm in a group of like more than 3 people, I get a bit introvert.
Okay.
But if they give me the opportunity to talk, then I can be in a group of more than 20 people.
Oh, okay. So when you say opportunity to talk, because you mentioned that you like being the center of attention, but you're also an introvert. And I wanted to dissect that a little bit. So what do you mean by you like being the center of attention? You like people looking at you and talking to you, but you also like, when you're in a group of 3, you don't like to be the one who everyone's looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you sound like my therapist.
That's the goal. I mean, I'm not a therapist, but yes, continue.
So, what was the question again?
So the question is, you say that you like having this, being the center of attention, right? But you also like being an introvert. So I'm trying to understand this better. When you say you like both things, does that, because usually when we think of introverts, we think that, oh, they don't like to talk a lot, maybe in social settings. Is that not true, perhaps?
Oh, the extrovert will go and approach people.
Okay.
And start initiating a conversation. But whereas an introvert, which is, for example, me, I will not go and approach total strangers or a group of people.
But if they come to you, you're happy to respond.
I am like very excited if they come and say, hello, how are you, from where you are and all. I will.
And then you talk. Then you open up.
Then I don't stop talking.
Okay.
but they need to initiate the conversation. And also, if I am in a group and let's say one person is dominating the conversation, I will not jump in.
Got it.
I
Makes
will
sense.
just say, yeah, yeah, whatever. This guy is just talking.
Do you think
And then I will switch off and go into my own little world. And then if somebody says, Sandeep, are you listening? I said, yeah, exactly. Or I will say, I agree with you.
but you're
Which
not going to
usually,
do that here, right?
which usually happens in meetings. When you sit in office meetings and the meeting goes on forever, or when you are talking to your better half, oh, actually, you're a woman. I should not be telling that. Whenever a guy, whenever a woman is talking, I mean, not between you and me, but whenever a woman is talking and the guy is supposed to sit and listen to her, most of the time I doze off mentally. If my wife is talking to me, I'll just listen to her and like, then after, I mean, maximum I can sustain somebody talking to me is 3 minutes.
Oh, wow. So is this usually a trait of an introvert? Like they cannot, pay attention for longer periods of time? Or is that just men?
Generally, when women talk to men usually cannot sustain the conversation because women jump from topic to topic. In 5 minutes, they have talked about 6 topics.
And men can't catch up, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because, I mean, it's true. I think I've seen that a lot where women have lots of different ideas coming along. And when they start talking, when you press that button, they go off, right? So they just expect the other person to be listening. But I guess that's not something that every individual can do, perhaps. But that may not be something introverts do. That's just something that I guess it depends on gender, depends on person to person. But one thing that I wanted to ask about introverts is that do you think that there are some extroverted traits that you need to be successful? Because a lot of people say, and this is not me saying this is just people saying that, oh, like extroverts are the people that would be successful because they approach people, they talk to people, they do this. I don't think that's true, but I want to hear what you have to say about that.
It is again depends on what is success for an introvert or what is success to an extrovert or what is success in societal norms.
True.
Is not. So for someone who measuring his success based on what his parents want him to be or she has to be or someone or what the society expects and is never true to his own identity, is successful in whose
Eyes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if success is measured in terms of having a lot of money, having a very nice lifestyle, again, that is a societal norm because now you might have a certain amount of money, but certain societal standards will say that money is not enough.
True.
So, for an introvert to be feeling true to himself or extrovert to be true to himself, he has to be standing true his own identity. So, and again, this whole definition of introvert behaves in such a way, extrovert behaves in, and we have done this study and that bullshit study is all bullshit. I can say bullshit, right?
It's okay.
So, and there is an information overload about, oh, introvert is like this because after 2 weeks there is a new study saying introvert is having this character of extrovert. So the whole definition is wrong. What people need to understand and what people who are introvert or extrovert need to understand is that the parameter of being extrovert or introvert cannot be measured by how much social you are or how much you mingle with
talkative.
people and all. It is about is your character of how you want to communicate to other people. Are you true to your identity or are you masking it up? And even if you are masking it up, how much to what degree? I mean, obviously, if I am going into a client meeting, I will have to mask it up in a way
Yeah.
to present, I cannot be myself because my 90% of my character is very silly and very outlandish and very childish. That is me. So now when I'm talking to you, it's a societal kind of a mask which I'm putting, but inside the what I'm saying to you is me.
Makes sense. And I think like when you were saying that in certain scenarios and certain situations, you need a mask. Like that mask, you kind of need one depending on where you're in. It's just making sure that under that mask, whatever is passing through that mask is still you. Like it's your opinions that are being told. The mask is just how you perform in a certain scenario, because sometimes you have to be more professional. Sometimes you can be, yourself, just be silly or whatever. So that mask is will have to be there in certain environments, but it's the frequency maybe of how often you put the mask on, perhaps.
Yeah, same thing. Like one of the time, couple of my sheeps, when they were going out on a stroll, they saw a group of other sheeps which were really following the shepherd. But usually I let my sheep to do whatever they want to do. So these two sheep were just wandering around without any problem, and the other two sheep, they were talking to the rest of the group, and they say, "See, look at these two sheep, so unprofessional. They don't know, they are not following the shepherd. But these two sheep are still now in the village. Nobody has slaughtered them."
Wow. So the
And the
moral of the
reason,
story
yeah,
is that
moral
they
of the
followed
story
what
is,
their heart desired.
yeah,
Perfect. That's a beautiful story. I'm sure it happened. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. But
still true.
coming back to
She's
coming,
unbelieving.
so let's talk about your experiences, not like sheep, but you. Okay. So one question I had was, were there specific challenges that you faced? Maybe because being an introvert, sometimes it can be challenging. Sometimes it's not. I know it's like it's you, it's your identity, but have you faced certain obstacles because of it?
See, there are certain areas where you are supposed to speak your mind.
Yes.
There are certain networking occasions where you have to go and talk to people. Now, an extrovert might have that inherently in him, but an introvert can learn that behavior. So, learning that behavior and doing that behavior does not come naturally to an introvert. So, I did face lot of instances where I am in a party and my mind is saying, should I not? Should I? So, it is introvert brain works like, what are the benefits, what are the pros, what are the cons. It starts evaluating all the options, and it is more concerned about rejection, because an introvert is concerned, what if it gets rejected with that interaction, social interaction. It comes to the conclusion that all my other social interactions will also flop. Whereas an extrovert is willing to take that chance. Like as a stand-up comedian, I'm willing to take chance by telling 10 jokes on stage, out of which maybe 5 jokes people are just looking at me and say, I think I lost my 5 minutes. I will never get it back. You know, those people who write. So people have that kind of fear, like public speaking. Why people have fear is because they think that these people are going to judge me. So now when you initially ask me as an introvert, when you go on stage and you are behaving like an extrovert, how come? So that is why I don't believe in the statement of what the internet or what these so-called studies tell. You know, this is the definition of introvert. Because that does not apply. I've seen many people who are considered introvert 100%. They turn out to be complete extroverts. So what is the exact parameter? Like I play chess. Okay. Now you call me in a party where people are all chess lovers. You will find me the most extrovert person. I will go and talk to everybody.
It depends on the environment.
Exactly. So if there is 50 stand-up comedians party, and I am a total introvert, but I love stand up comedy, I will go and talk to all of them. I don't care if they reject me. So, where is my extrovert gone? And if you check and ask certain people, like there are many people who say that, oh, I don't want to go out anywhere because I like to sit at home and watch Netflix. But you give them a proper environment.
And they'll be willing to do it.
So they have to ask themselves, if there was a group of people, what is the group of people I would love to go and mingle with? They need to ask themselves that. They don't ask because they have got into that, they have been brainwashed into believing that, oh, I'm an introvert because I always like my own company, or because I'm sitting at home and reading books, or because I'm sitting at home and playing chess. They have created that definition in their own head. They need to ask themselves, am I really? So instead of just reading and saying, oh, studies, nowadays they do studies with 300 people. Who are these 300 people?
So that's interesting what you're saying, because you're saying that sometimes when you see on social media that introverts act a certain way, so then even if I'm not an introvert, you just think that, oh, because they're saying that introverts usually stay at home, I am probably an introvert, and then you start living up to that. You start living up to that identity because that's what society has kind of placed on you. Perhaps, is that what you're trying to say?
Correct, because we just believe the information that is being thrust upon us. Whenever we get any information, we have to first evaluate that information to our own life. Of course, if you some history lessons, of course, we cannot evaluate. Or if something is happening in the world, we cannot evaluate. We have to just go with the news and make our own judgment, right?
Yeah.
And say, oh, maybe this actually happened. Iceland volcano erupted. You cannot say, oh, I don't think it has erupted.
Yeah,
Right?
of course. There you have to make a distinction between.
Like if I say I've got 50 goats and 20 roosters, you have to believe me because I might be telling the truth. How do you know?
Sure.
Now, do you want to go and check in my village if actually those goats and chicken are there, or if this is a fabricated story? Is it worth me pursuing this information, or I just believe this guy? Is a decision you need to make. So if the label comes on you and says, oh, you are an introvert, you need to question that. Am I really an introvert?
Do you think then that we should not place labels on ourselves then?
Correct. You should not place labels, because what is being said today, after 1 month, somebody says exactly the opposite. And somebody will cite some studies and say, oh, I saw these studies and so. Like, do you want, like, if you tell, if I want to go to a party and I see that party is going to be so and so based on my requirement, I will go. Then where is my introvert? And you will say, excuse me, just 2 days ago I told you to come to this party, you did not come.
Because I
No,
don't like
because
you.
I was introvert. Ah, okay. And I will believe that I am introvert.
So do you not like placing these labels on yourself as well? Like,
I don't like placing labels, but I would say, if you ask me, like, are you an introvert? I'll say, yeah. Or an extrovert? I'll say, I'm an introvert.
okay.
Now, to answer, rather than give you a whole 15-minute
Just
explanation.
to make it simpler. Makes sense. But for you personally, you would not think of yourself in that way, in that manner.
Because I have seen people who are very loud. Because extrovert, when you say extrovert, what is the average person thinking? He's thinking that, oh, he's partying, he's talking everywhere, he's jumping up and down, doing all adventure sports, right? That is what image comes to your mind.
Yes.
But if you ask him are you an extrovert? He'll say, yeah, I'm extrovert. But deep down inside, he's seeking attention. Deep down inside, maybe he's a loner. Deep down inside, maybe he's seeking love. Deep down inside, he just enjoys his own company. We don't know.
Interesting.
So there is a lot of parameters which we have not explored in people's personalities, and we just label them. I said, oh, you're like. And the saddest part is people believe there's labels, because that is one very important thing which I learned through meditation, is that one needs to know oneself. And unless you know your own self, which you will never know, right? Because your own self is just emptiness.
Oh, wow, that's really, you think we're empty?
If you actually see, it's all this is flesh, right? But the more deeper you go, it is what is there? Is atoms, molecules, protons, neutrons,
We have
neutrinos,
brains.
quarks. That
We
is,
feel and we think.
but when you go down to the ultimate particle,
Mm,
proton, neutrons, quarks, and you the science has found now Higgs boson, right? Beyond that is empty space.
interesting.
So we are all empty space. And what makes this human body to be sitting in front and talking, and I am talking to you, and what is in between is empty space, right? How do you hear the sounds?
Right. So you're
Science lecture in between.
yes, I like the scientific facts that I don't know about. So one thing that you were mentioning about being an introvert. So I really like that you mentioned that labeling is something that's wrong in society. It's what society places on us. And that's true. I think it's not just with introvert, extrovert, it's with multiple different areas in our life where people tell you that, oh, for example, the label that if you grew up being called like the smart child. For example, that's what your parents have placed on you. You are the smart child. So when you grow up, you have to live up to that. So anytime you get a bad grade, it's like hell because that's the pressure, that's the expectation. So I think labeling can do a lot of harm in that sense. And even with this label of introvert. So for example, growing up, I know a lot of my friends who grew up quiet, like they wouldn't talk a lot. They didn't like talking a lot. It has nothing to do with introvert extrovert. It's just that they were quiet in certain scenarios. So for example, in the house, they were usually quiet. So their parents would always be like, why don't you talk? You never talk. Can you talk? Can you talk? And like they grew up with this pressure of like always having to talk, and I think that makes them feel more of not wanting to talk. You know what I mean? So how was that like for you growing up? How was it like for you growing up in terms of figuring out that, okay, maybe I'm quiet in these scenarios, but I'm not quiet in those scenarios? Like, how did you figure that out growing up?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
Okay.
Start by saying, sometimes I get into my. No, so growing up, my mother was a teacher, so she always wanted me to take first rank. So for almost up to grade 8 or 9, I was taking first or second or third rank. And I was considered as a genius by my mother only. And then, because I was under so much pressure to, like, she said that, oh, you are gifted, you are, like, you have photographic memory, you are like, so those labels came on in my mind. And my father said, oh, he's going to be engineer, because my father was an engineer. I started believing that this is my path.
Exactly.
And then for a long period of time, I just could not get out of that shadow, because I only believed that this is me. This is my identity. And it took me a lot of soul searching, because whatever I was doing, I was not happy. And there is lot of people, I'm not talking about clinically depressed, otherwise people will start saying, who are you to diagnose? So, so, so a lot of people are going through a lot of depression, sadness, and not being happy despite achieving lot of so-called successes by societal standards, is because they are not able to do what they actually want to do. And what they actually want to do, they need to search within themselves. And they think, because when I was going through a lot of depression and a lot of sadness, I actually sat down. I went for meditation to the Himalayas,
Oh, really?
yeah, for 2 months, and to Dharamsala. So there I actually sat down and because your mind is clear of all
Everything.
the distractions. There is no phone calls, nothing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to go all the way. You can sit in your house and you can
And turn
still
off
write.
your phone. Yeah.
And then you hear certain voices in your head. Whatever those voices are, just write it down. Don't judge. And just write it down on a piece of paper. And it will keep on writing, writing, writing. Don't try to stop that. Okay, just keep writing. You will talk, lot of things will come. And as you finish writing, after that you sit and evaluate and write next to it, have you heard this voice before? And the more you go deeper in that, you realize, oh, this is my father. Oh, this is my mother. Oh, this is my sister. Oh, this is my friend. Oh, this is my school teacher. Oh, this is my previous boss. And very rarely you will find some of that voice is you. And how do you realize that voice is you? Because it will hit you in the center, just above the navel, and it will hit you like it, and you will get goosebumps when
So
you
you went through all of this.
yeah. So and that is when I realized, oh, this is not me. This is not, and oh, this is me. So then I realized, oh. And the more you identify with that voice, you will realize that is your true voice and that is your true calling. And then when you do more of that, there is your happiness. And then you don't need money, you don't need food to eat, nothing. You are just happy. Of course, the more food and money will come.
As you pursue that.
And people say, "Oh, I am very passionate to do this." Are you really? Because for a long period of time, I was thinking that, oh, when I make people laugh, my main intention, I get a kick. When I see people laughing, I get a kick.
Mm.
I used to think that. And then I realized that I don't get a kick just by seeing people laugh. It is a sense of, it's not even happiness. I feel like I am in that moment. Because when you are laughing, you are in that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. You feel more present with
Yeah, so
with
when
what's happening.
all these gurus who tell us and all these spiritual people who tell us be in the moment, what is that be in the moment? Is that you don't have any past or future. But you don't know how to be in the moment, right? Because when you think, oh, now I'm in the moment, you're already in the past.
That was very deep,
So when
actually.
you are laughing, you are in that moment. Have you realized that?
Because you're feeling like
And
what
also
is
when you
happening
are
in the
coughing and
situation.
you are sneezing,
Thank
you
you
are
for
in the
that.
moment.
That was beautiful, actually. That was so deep, and everything that you mentioned about how like you face these pressures growing up because this is the expectation put on you. So in the end, you kind of feel lost in terms of what is it that you want, what is it that your parents want, what is it, and you're trying to balance everyone's expectations, and it becomes such a struggle. So it was crazy to hear like your experience with that as well. But one thing you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast was that comedians are mental. You said that. Okay, that's not my words. You're saying that comedians are they've gone through a lot in their life, and so comedy is probably their defense mechanism, perhaps. Right? So why do you say that comedians are mental? What do you mean by that?
No, it's not their defense mechanism per se.
Okay.
It is they think differently. So there is, and again, it uh, ties very beautifully with that whole introvert extrovert type of mindset, is because everybody has their certain way of looking at things. So a comedian looks at things differently because he thinks it differently most of the time. So if a normal person, again by societal standards, what is a normal person, might look at things the way everybody expects him to look at things. So for a comedian, he thinks slightly weird. He thinks, what if this was like this? What if it was like that? does not mean that a normal person will not be able to think. Of course, they can think, but they quickly banish that thought and say, oh, it is stupid. Oh, it is silly.
But
Like
then
when,
comedians embrace it.
like if I tell this joke to my mother, she'll be like, what has happened to you? What stupid thing you're talking about? What my mother does not like my. I mean, she appreciates I've got so many followers and people are putting those smiley emojis, but she does not
Like the jokes.
like. What are you talking? I'm like, no, this is me. No, it is not you. What has happened to you?
So did they see this side of you before? Or was it like after you started posting on social
I was
media?
like this since childhood, but I was
Okay.
always been told behave. Like I mean, even like. Even like when I was getting bullied and all, I did not know I was getting bullied. So the people who used to bully me, then they realized I did not know that I was getting bullied. So they stopped having fun in me getting bullied, and I became part of their group.
You became the bully?
No, I became part of their group,
Group.
means
Okay, you
in their
became
friends
Okay.
group.
Okay.
And I was giving them ideas
Wow,
on
that's
how
crazy.
to. Not the bully means not the physical harm kind of bully, like teasing or taunting or making fun, like a very mild kind of bully. So, but nowadays, if you do if you write like that kind of thing on social media, oh, how dare he write like.
Yeah, I want to come back to that topic actually, because when we talk about societal pressures, it has a lot to do with like the world becoming more sensitive. And this is something that you've mentioned before. So definitely I want to come back, we'll put a pause on that and I will come back to that in a little bit. But as we're talking about families and how families put certain pressures and expectations and things like that, one other thing that usually in South Asian households, also the rest of the world, but in South Asian households, we have a lot of pressure on is to get married. And marriage is always a hot topic in South Asian families. And when I was talking to you, there was something that you mentioned, which was that you don't believe in marriage as an institution. I just want to ask you first, what does it mean when we say marriage is an institution? What does that mean?
Yeah, because marriage was created by humans. If you see in the wild, there is no such thing as marriage, right? And we, as humans, are still animals. Okay? We are not humans. Okay, just because we created this society and all this, we cannot say that we are humans. This means scientifically, I'm saying, I'm not anything else. So I feel humans created marriage so that the offspring, the children, can be brought in a very nurtured and caring environment, and it would be good for the society, which is the case. Because if we were living like animals in the savannas or in the jungles, it would have been we would still be happily living actually.
But as humans, it's
actually,
different.
Yeah, it's true, man. Anyway, so for a great period of time, that structure worked. So a woman by nature is monogamous. I'm talking scientifically, biologically, and I'm not a scientific person. I'm a comedian. So please don't quote me on this.
This is based on
please.
your research.
Whereas a man is polygamous
Okay.
because he has to spread his seed. As every male species, almost majority of the male species. So he is bound by duty to make sure that he brings up the child in a proper nurtured manner. So by creating those rules and restrictions, he is going to stick to the whole
To
marriage
the rules.
thing
Yeah.
for the rest of his life. And the whole honeymoon phase or the whole love phase where the person and the man and woman are falling in deeply love is all biological. Because it lasts only for a certain period of time. Once those hormonal imbalances are gone and you are back to your normal hormonal, is like, oh, who are you? And I hate you, and all this shit happen. And all these bloody singers, these rappers, and who are these
They're always
pop singers,
having
they will say, oh,
divorces.
90% of the song is all about this. My love is gone, and what is love, and all this shit. So, anyway, yeah, actually, all the songs are shit nowadays. Anyway.
But that's true. Like a lot of the songs are about breakup and things like this because that is what people are going through. And I think like when you were saying that marriage was created as an institution to keep two partners together to
And
make
families
sure
together.
to keep families
Joint
together
families
intact.
together and all. And that structure, I feel, is no longer sustainable in today's
Oh, okay.
environment. It was sustainable in the environment before, where the man and woman knew that this love is not going to last the romantic way.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father and mother are very happy in their marriage. If you see in the olden times, people are just living with those shortcomings, living with those failures of each other's incompatibility. They're like,
They're dealing with
this
it.
is it. This
We
is,
have to deal with it.
and they just get on with their life. But now that we are in a digital world, we think there are so many choices, and we think love has to be certain ways. Love, romanticism has to be like this. So the expectations are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So that level of understanding between a man and a woman cannot sustain in today's world. So my thing is, marriage as an institution can survive really well if they can make divorce as sustainable as marriage. What I mean is that when you're celebrating marriage, celebrate divorce the same way.
Interesting.
Don't make divorce as a shameful or, oh, now you did this to me. And no, the person was in your life for a certain period of life. Be happy with that person. Just because somebody loved you for a certain period of time cannot be like that person has to love you forever. That love, when you got it, be happy, be gratitude that you had that love, even if that love is for 2 minutes. That is love. Now you cannot expect that love to be with it forever, because then it becomes conditional love.
So that's a very interesting perspective because when you say that, so you were mentioning that now we have all these different options. Like people said, there's so much fish in the water, those phrases. So there's a lot of options because of the digital world. What I think is that, don't you think that because there's so many more options now, there's so many more distractions now, marriage is even more important to ensure that, you remember that this is the person that's in front of you, this is the person we'll fight for. Because if we are only chasing love, because you're saying be happy for that love that you had, but marriage is not supposed to be just love. Like it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to sacrifice things, you're supposed to like work with the other person. However, I know many stories where it's a toxic marriage where it's abusive or things like that, and then divorce is needed. Like that makes complete sense. But if I understand divorce should be accessible, especially in South Asian cultures where it's such a taboo topic. But if we think that, there's always the option of divorce, maybe we won't try hard in the marriage.
You don't have to try hard. Why you need to try hard? If you love somebody, you don't need to try hard. If I have to make somebody laugh, I should make somebody laugh naturally. If I am trying hard, you will know that I'm trying hard. You will not laugh.
Interesting. But
same thing with my, I cannot
your
talk
jokes?
about my chicken and rooster. I just wanted to insert one joke here.
Insert.
No, it's not funny.
But responding to what you said, that you don't need to try hard, but don't you think that marriages need work just like anything else? Like if you're working on a business, it needs work. Like everything that you do in your life, it needs work. And like it cannot always be perfect. I understand what you're saying, that things should be natural, like you should love that person naturally, but that person cannot always be perfect. So wouldn't you have to try to make it work and try to accept their flaws?
That is what I'm saying. We have, again, it comes as a label.
Okay.
If you are not true to your heart and you don't want to make this marriage work, then that whole definition of you have to work hard, you have to sacrifice will come into play.
Makes sense.
Like a mother looking after the child, you cannot, she will never say, I sacrificed my dreams for the you, or she will never say if she really loves that child of hers. So if I am going to office because I want to get that monthly check end of the month and I need that money to take
Provide.
care of all my other vices in life, then I'm not going to work hard, but I will be made to work hard because I have to stay in the job, because I want to make some extra money out of it, because I want to get promoted. I don't enjoy the job. So why are you doing this podcast? If you tell me that, oh, I am doing this podcast because my boss has told me I have to do 6 podcasts with 6 stupid influencers and you are one of them. And I have to do this anyway. And I have to bring this kadak chai, which I really hate to bring, by the way. But I have to
That
bring
is
because I
a lie.
already put that name kadak with my ring. And guys like you are so sarcastic, remind me all the time. Then you will not be true to yourself. And that I will feel. You will feel, and that podcast will not happen the way it will supposed to happen. So what I'm trying to get to at
Is the intention.
is the intention. And but if you have been told by society by at a certain age you have to get married and you have to sacrifice, and this marriage, and when you get into the first year, because after that love and honeymoon phase is over and you are married, after 1 year, you're like, oh, why am I not feeling that love anymore with you? But you still love the person for what that person is, and you are willing to sacrifice out of your own will. And you don't consider it as hard work, or like if I want to build 6-pack abs for donkey number of years. And no matter how many times I go in the gym, I am working hard. But my mind and soul is not there. Why? Because
you
I am
don't like
only
it.
focused on where is my 6-pack. I don't enjoy the workout. So that 6-pack, even if it comes, I will feel like I sacrificed, I went through pain. You know David Goggins, who is running like crazy all the time, non-stop. You know David, you don't know. So this guy just runs non-stop, okay? And if you ask him why you do this, he says, I enjoy doing it. There is no goal. If you ask me, I've been doing stand-up comedy for almost, I think, 12 years or so. But I have not made any money out of it. Most of the places I go and perform, nobody gives me money. But I enjoy doing it. I enjoy commuting to the place where I'm performing. I sit in line waiting for my turn until all the other comedians perform. I go on stage and I perform and I enjoy that experience. That is my lasting memory in my life. When I'm on my deathbed, those are the memories that will flash before me. Now, why am I doing this? If somebody has, oh, so you're not sacrificing your time, you're not sacrificing in that commute, are you not getting bored sitting there until all the other comedy? I'll say no.
Because it's worth it. It's something that you're looking for.
But the whole experience of me waiting till I'm coming, yes, I'm like, oh God, why can't I just, yes, I'm feeling that, but I don't care about that pain.
Interesting.
So if you are in that marriage and you're like, oh, I have to stick to this marriage because, I have to make this marriage work and for this woman or this husband, there's no point of that marriage. And yes, if you are in the marriage because you don't want that other person to suffer and to go through hell, then you have to make a decision whether it is for her benefit or whether it is your benefit. But in the end, mentally, those two people are spaced out.
Interesting. I completely agree with the fact that, when you're in a marriage and whether you're making, it's interesting you said that even if you're making that sacrifice, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It doesn't feel like you are working hard to do something because you know that you're doing it for you're doing it for the right reasons.
It's like you enjoy that pain.
Yes, you're enjoying it because you know that you love the person, so you would want to do that. You would willingly want to do that. So
Like you are excited to do this. Like you are excited to do this podcast with me. I'm excited to do this podcast with you. There is no
Exactly.
like, oh, if I don't do this podcast, how will I increase my followers? Or will I get how many views if I don't do this? After doing this, will I get? I don't care. Because I want to enjoy that experience of doing this podcast with you. Because I saw your videos and I saw the way you're organized. I said, oh, wish I could do this podcast with Marin, a long time ago before I became viral. So there is nothing attached to that. I just enjoy that experience. So maybe there is a lot of pain, there is suffering, I don't know. But I don't even talk about it because it does not feel.
I like this makes complete sense to me. I think when I was saying, because I do, like, I want to get married. I think marriage is a beautiful thing and it's something that definitely should be celebrated. And I agree with the fact that there are lots of scenarios that I've seen. There are so many stories of people who are in marriages that they don't want to be in, that they're in because of society, because they're too scared to leave that marriage, because their parents will get mad, because of whatever reasons, but they're not there because they personally want to be there. And if that's the case, I think divorce is something that should be accessible for them.
Accessible and celebrated, not made it to be a shameful event.
Interesting.
And if society should not like, oh my God, going through, you are such a bad person. That label, even in advanced even in North America and all where it is very common, people still put a tag. Oh, that means you are not good in relationship management.
Exactly.
That is an unconscious tab on you already. You are already like, as soon as you say I'm a divorcee or divorced, unconsciously you are already thinking, tomorrow you are trying to be friends with him. Anything that he or she says, you are like, anyway, that divorced person is so hard. No wonder your wife or husband divorced you. No, in your mind, you are playing that tape.
Yeah.
Because society has made you feel a certain way. Why does not society say you divorced because you did not want that person also to suffer with you? You are actually a good person.
Good person. Yeah.
Because it is more bad for a person to live with another person unhappily. For what? You are a bad person allowing that to happen.
True.
Oh no, because our parents will say this. Oh no, my parent, I think who will go through this whole divorce, man. Oh my God. You are putting so much pressure on you. You cannot be happy yourself. How you can make the other person feel happy? Same like when you don't love yourself, how you can love somebody else?
For sure. For sure.
People say, oh, you have to, I did care for you so much, you don't love me. But do you love yourself first? It's like, I don't have money. How can I give money to anybody?
Yeah.
So, people need to first love themselves 100%. They don't love 100%, not the narcissistic type of love, where is again the whole point comes to like, how do I know if I 100% love myself? Is that when you are standing naked in front of the mirror and you look at yourself and you're perfectly in love with your body, perfectly in love with the way you are today, with whatever you have got, and you're saying 100% I'm happy. And when you have that 100% feeling, you don't have to go out and say, love me. You are yourself love. People will come to you and give you love. You don't need, oh, I need this person in my life. Without that person, then that becomes conditional attachment.
Yes.
I did so much for you and now you treat me like this. I did not bring me flower, or I did not take you on a bloody vacation. All that things come where? When it becomes a transactional love.
Interesting.
And again, transactional love created by society, because you watch all these movies, romantic movies, and all. From where are we getting this stupid information?
Yeah, you watch these movies and that kind of conditions you to think that that's how romance is supposed to be. That's how everything.
Romance is there, but for a very short period of time.
Yeah, that's not what you can fully rely and depend on. And one thing that you mentioned before you started this was that marriage is only sustainable if divorce is also sustainable. So, in this stage right now that we're in, where divorce, do you think divorce is not, you were saying that divorce is not something that is kind of encouraged when needed, it's not, celebrated and things like that. So in that scenario today in society, do you think marriage would not work then?
It is again, it has to go down to the foundation. It's like, what are we teaching our children from ground level? What are we teaching in schools, universities? What are we, what information that person is accessing, whether that person is knowing what is love, does the person know about what is marriage? How many people are educated in what is marriage? How many people are educated in the whole thing about love? How many people are actually knowing what a marriage involves?
Interesting.
90% of people who are getting into marriage, they don't know how much trials and tribulations are there to make that marriage work. People think, oh, no, I have found my soulmate. We are deeply in love. We connect on almost every level. Brother, sister, just live with that person. And they are living. There are a lot of live-in relationships. But have you ever gone through everything that is required in terms of marriage to work? Like, have you talked about finance? Have you talked about children? Have you talked about what will happen when you're 30, 40, 50? No, we don't want to think all that. We are enjoying our moment. Let us be. Okay, then don't get married.
Mm.
The wife, the live-in partner should not force the other person and say, oh, now you have to get married. How long we are going to do this time pass?
Mm.
Why? Know the boundaries, know the parameters. And the thing, the most funny part is, a person changes every moment. Today you are like this. After 6 months you will say, what is this podcast? I don't want to bring this kadak chai. Every time for kadak chai, I will just put Myrin show. So you know how much difficult it is to bring this bloody kadak chai? Bloody hell. I will just put Myrin show. So again, you will be a different person. So that is what I am saying, trying to say is that marriage, this whole work, even this work culture, 9 to 5. Who told that you have to work 9 to 5? There are many days when there is no bloody work. People create unnecessary work. Send 50 emails, copy everybody in the email. Why am I receiving email when I have got nothing to do? The guy will say, only for your information. I would information so again, depends on, I would say.
So you need to have like the communication going on before you decide to get married. Is that what you're saying?
You need to know exactly what happens after you get married.
Do you think
be
that
prepared for it, and be prepared for the exit clause also. Not like, oh, our marriage, I will make it work no matter what. No, be prepared that this can happen. And is the other person also willing to do all of that? Because you have to know what is this current scenario. You cannot look at some romantic novel or romantic this and all these jokes about marriage where the woman is always been the person made joke of, is wrong. Because a man is equally responsible for that. And one thing what people don't understand is, a woman, when she talks or when she is enjoying the company, 90% of the time she would rather enjoy it with another woman. Because the wiring is different. A man, yes, they will enjoy the company of a woman, but only for certain, maybe 1 hour,
Activities.
2 hours, or maybe some activities together. That's it. But I have seen the women in my life, they are so much enjoying when I see them with other women.
Interesting.
Same thing with men. Have you seen any man, okay, other than that love part, or when the other woman is also in sync with him for a certain period of time? 90% of the time you see them enjoying with other men. Have you seen the enjoyment level, the
True.
intensity on a scale of 1 to 10? A man with another man, 10 out of 10. Man with another woman, maybe maximum 8.
Even if you think they're in love and everything, they would enjoy it more with.
On some activity level.
Okay.
That time it is 10 out of 10.
Interesting.
And that is not sustainable. But with his best buddies, he is like gone bananas. Same thing with the woman. You send two women on a shopping mall, in a shopping mall.
Yeah, that's what I say. It depends on the activity, right? Like,
No, also in the way the conversation is. Like, let's say you are doing podcast with me, you are enjoying the conversation. You remove this podcast and you ask, after all these main questions, you ask me, like, we cannot do this whole interview thing all the time. You'll be like, my God, you're so boring. I'll be like, Myrin, you stopped asking questions nowadays. Now you're only telling me stories. So you will say that, oh, in my university, no, this happened. I'll like,
and then you realize, oh, this is the true Mehreen.
and then this, when I go to take kadak chai, oh my God, you don't know. I went once time with this kadak chai. There was no kadak chai. No way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories when it comes to me and my kadak, but that's definitely a thing. But as you were mentioning that,
So again, the compatibility factor where you know this person is right for you is that person starts enjoying each and every bit of your conversation.
oh,
So
okay.
you say, I went for this kadak chai and I was in this, and I'm like, wow, and that person is enjoying that
Wow.
conversation.
But no one would enjoy that like every second of the conversation. Like,
No, now you have to see how long that person is enjoying this type of conversations. Because after that whole love and hormonal thing is gone, which you will know once that person is in a relationship with you for quite number of at least 2 years. Then you'll say, this person is still enjoying. He is calling me and asking me how, what happened here, what happened there. And when he's talking, you are also enjoying. That conversation part is, I would say, 90% important. When I say conversation is the other person is in sync with you, what you're talking, laughing, understanding, you feel it in your heart and your soul. And that is sustainable.
so do you think that, so you were saying usually in 2 years, like if the person actually, enjoys the conversation, do you think that someone before getting married, they should give it like 2-3 years, like they should give it a number of years? Because some people say, when you know the person, you just know, you get married and things like that. So before getting married, there's how long? I know it's hard to place a number, but do you believe in this idea that if you know, so you can get married in a few months or in a few years? Or do you think that you need to give it a few years to really know?
Now, again, how much time are you spending in knowing that other person? Because you can be with that person for maybe 20 years and you have not known the person. So when I say know the person, like you need to know everything about the person, and the person also has to be open. Because in a dating life, everybody is wearing mask. Everybody is their best version of themselves. Like, oh, I am like this at home. I clean everything. I put everything in the same place. I'm such I dress always like this. I am such a clean person. I take shower every day 3 times. I brush 5 times a day. I'm like, oh, wow, I want exactly like this.
But it's not. It's
So
not real.
if you come to know about that, now again, for a woman to take a chance with how many men she is going to take a chance? So you took a chance with one guy and you bloody wait for 2 years and then found out he was totally,
Terrible.
fake.
Yeah.
So that is life. It's your bad luck. It's like sometimes you study something and you actually end up doing something else. Like you are doing computer science, but you are here doing podcasting.
Yes, I know. I've realized this after 3 years of doing computer science.
So this is something. So it is okay. I mean, see, we take life too seriously. We are not. First of all, you have to remember. This is we get little bit scientific. The planet is going around the sun at the speed of 160,000 kilometers per second. We cannot even drive 120 kilometers on Sheikh Zayed right? 160,000 kilometer per second. The planet is going around the sun, and we are right now traveling in space.
Mm.
And we are the only species aware that we are alive. I mean, isn't that enough to be happy about? Is it not enough to be gratitude about? What more do you need?
Mm. I think with everything in social media and everything, we start having all these pressures and ideas that you have to do this to be happy, you have to do that to be happy, you have to do this to be successful, and you don't realize that it's important to take a
Yeah.
step back and just be grateful. And so, moving on from this topic of marriage, the last thing that I just wanted to discuss with you was about societal expectations and social pressures, and how social media places pressures, influencers place pressures. And s- from your personal experiences, what have been certain societal pressures that you've kind of navigated through? So, for example, as an influencer on social media, people feel like, oh, you have to like showcase what you're doing every day. You need to make sure that you look perfect. You are perfect. You act the perfect way. You say the perfect thing. What are these kind of pressures that you have personally faced that you've trying to navigate?
I would say 95% I'm me myself in my social media page. That does not mean everybody can be like that, because everybody has their own preferences and own way of doing things. And again, for me, I would say everybody, first of all, there is too much instructions in life. Do this, don't do that, and why like this. And life is very challenging to just survive, first of all. Okay. So, and this whole concept of happiness, what people think by if I go on social media, if I do this, if I do that, the whole concept of happiness is erroneous, because humans are not supposed to be happy 100% of the time. The
Completely agree
nature
with
of
that.
the brain is to always make you strive for more. Because the minute you say, I am happy 100% of the time, life is over. It's nothing, there is no drive. So the human person or any living being cannot survive. The whole stupid notion that, oh, I have to be happy all the time is wrong. You are not supposed to be happy. That feeling of connection with something that you do, or with the other person, or with just you being alive, is called blissfulness or happiness, the present state of being. So if you are sad, be in that sadness 100%. Don't be like, sadness is bad. No, because that wave has to come and go. If you are depressed, be depressed 100%. But what happens when you are depressed? You say, it is not good to be depressed. Let me go and change this state of mind by eating some sugar, watching some movie, going on social media, or doing some other vice of yours. Why not just be depressed 100% in that moment? When you are depressed 100% in that moment, a pain will come through you and leave you.
It's like, don't try to run away from that. You have to embrace it to finally let it go. So I think
Yeah,
that
just enjoy that depression, enjoy that happiness. Why is depression bad? Why is sadness bad? If that remains with you for a longer period of time, maybe, again, I'm not talking clinically depressed, but I'm saying normal depression, people don't need to overcome. It's just a state. In a day, 24-hour day, 8 hours if you're sleeping, maybe you are eating the wrong kinds of food and your hormones are getting out of balance, and maybe you are depressed, or maybe you are too overexcited. Like today's children, they're having all these soft drinks and everything, and they are super excited, and their whole hormonal is out of whack. So if your nutrition and your if you're moving your physical body enough, and you are following the basics of life. Just follow the damn basics. Life is not bloody complicated. Just follow the basics. Sleep 8 hours, go out for a walk in the sunshine. We are in such a beautiful place, Dubai. We this is the right time to go out for a nice walk in the morning. Have good food, like some organic food.
And live life. Yeah.
What more do you need? And do what your heart desires to do. Okay, maybe if you have a very evil boss or have a very bad relationship, then okay, then you need to work towards changing that. But my point, what I'm trying to make, even when you say social media, when people are going on social media, are they getting influenced by other people? Is a question again boils down to the whole circle of the society, the way we were brought up. Whose voice is that?
Mm-hmm.
If you are saying that I am on social media because I want to get 50,000 followers, and what will that 50,000 followers do? I want to make money out of that, then maybe you want money out of it. So, whatever you are doing, putting makeup or putting a fake image, do. Because maybe your outcome is I want money. Now, maybe 50,000 people will say that is not good, that is bad, and what? It is your decision. You have to live with it. You write some offensive message, you will get the consequence. You will make somebody unhappy. But are you true to yourself?
Yeah.
If your true self says to you, write this message and make 20,000 people feel sad, and that is you, and you know it is me, then those
Then do it.
20,000 people will give you some kind of consequence. You have to live with that consequence. So again, this whole beauty standards and the whole facade of like, oh, we should not be doing this makeup and this. If that person enjoys doing makeup, like I know so many female friends of mine, they are not doing it for the sake of impressing other people. They just enjoy doing makeup. They enjoy putting fillers. They really enjoy. And they let them do it. Who am I or who is anybody else to say it's not good, you're trying to show off? I want to show off.
Do you think you've been put certain standards as a male, though?
As a male, I have been told not to say certain things about women or not to say certain things. And those are the society rules. And I have to respect it. If I am in a specific culture and I'm in a specific country, if I am living in a certain society, I have to learn to play by the rules. I cannot say, I don't like this, I will do what Sundeep says. No. I have to live in this society. I have to still follow what I want to do, but there are rules.
Yeah, you kind of learn to. There are some constraints, obviously, because there are social norms, there are social rules. You need to follow them, but then at the same time, you just navigate through what you want to do and what you have to kind of follow based on social conduct.
Like if I would have been allowed to do what I want to do on social media, I would have maybe upset
lots of people.
Yeah. So
So
do
there are
I really
certain
want to
things-
do it? And if I do it, what is the consequence? Consequence is I will be thrown out of social media. And those people who really enjoy my content, by me being, out of 10 on intensity, right now I am at 5 with my comedic. I can be on 10 on 10. But by doing 10 on 10, I will lose even that 5 people who are now liking my content and where I can express myself.
That's interesting. So you have to kind of manage like what you want, what you kind of have to follow. Like that's just, I guess, the way certain things work.
Yeah, and even in even animals, for example, if they are living in the jungle, they have to play by the rules. There are certain rules that they have to follow. If they are not, they are thrown out of the tribe. So, just because we are aware of certain things, I cannot say, oh, this is not right. I think we should change this. That is not right. I mean, if everybody does that, it will be chaos.
Yeah.
So, It is up to how much of your true identity you are able to express in this society that
Within
you are
this.
living within is a decision you need to make.
Mm-hmm.
And how long you want to continue doing this. So, like even there are companies I have been working where the people, staff are complaining, oh, this should be like this and that should. And then I said, then you have options. If you have option to leave, then leave. But if you know that this is the system, either you
Abide by
accept the system or you try and leave the system. But if you try to change the system, how much time are you going to spend changing the
Is
system?
it worth it? I think that's the question.
Not
that you
only
have to
worth
ask.
it, like you have so much things to work upon your own
Yourself.
self.
Is it worth that?
You are going to sit and change the system. I mean, what has happened in this whole history of civilization? How many times people have tried to change the system? What we have ended up with? See the condition of the world.
It's crazy. But thank you. This was a very interesting conversation. I really enjoyed. Yes, 1 hour has already passed. But we talked about.
In the jokes, I did not tell any jokes. People will be like such a serious.
No, you said jokes. It's okay. You have to show this side of you as well, right? But thank you very much. This was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed all the different topics that maybe you haven't talked about in an episode before. I just have a little gift for you that I give in the end. This is the gift from Feel Good Tea.
Oh, thank you so much. Whenever somebody gives me gift, I feel very emotional.
So please enjoy this.
By the way, thank you so much. And I think, guys, she is going to be the next Karan Johar.
No, I'm not the next Karan Johar. I'm the next Mehreen Munir.
Oh, yeah, sorry, next Mehreen. Maybe most of the people don't even know it's Karan Johar.
But you can put it on the table if it's easier.
What
yeah.
I have to make tea out of this?
So yeah, basically it's a tea box. So you can open it. You can just, yeah.
Oh, wow, thank you so much. Oh,
Yes.
been a long time a woman has given me a gift. Guys,
I hope you like it.
dear Sandeep, every cup of kadak has a story. Thank you for sharing yours with me.
I see that you really like it. You have to you have to send me pictures when you make these teas. There's lots of
Oh,
different
I have to
flavors.
make a tea?
Yeah, so these are different tea flavors that you can make.
Oh.
So enjoy it. So in the end of the episode, we always do a little cheers of the karak.
Oh,
So
what
do you
is
wanna
an
do-
infuser? I have to buy an infuser. So you are not
No,
giving
no,
me an
You can make it normally, the normal way that you make tea.
It says put the loose leaf teas into an infuser.
Yeah,
Where is
like-
the infuser? You give me something as a gift and then there is nothing. The other
No.
part I have to buy.
You can cook it like the way you put it in the water and everything. You can do it. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You don't need to get this. But there is an infuser in this. Actually, I forgot to. There's one here. Oh yeah, I
I'll
forgot
give
you're
this-
talking about it.
This is a good gift idea for me to give to somebody on Valentine's Day. Can I re-gift
No,
this?
this is yours. Okay.
I'm not supposed to say that,
do
right?
our little karak in the end. So we'll put this here and just the final cheers. Yay.
You are Muslim, right? You're not supposed to drink. This is the only cheers she can say, guys. No pun intended.
You can do cheers in other scenarios. I can
Really?
have non-alcoholic beer. Why not?
But you cannot say cheers. Cheers is mainly reserved.
No, you can. Cheers is just like
Do
celebration.
you want to talk about cheers as an institution?
But perfect.